to the DMF. I am your host, Justin Yance, and this is episode 67. And this is the wrestling show. And I'm going to talk about my thoughts going on in wrestling today. I'm going to talk about New Japan. I'm going to talk about AEW. I'm going to talk about WWE. And I'm going to talk about one of my favorite moments on Raw. So stay tuned. Let's start with New Japan Pro Wrestling. I just finished watching tonight. It was Jon Moxley versus Kenta for the United States IWGP Championship. And unbelievably, I can't believe it, but Jon Moxley ends up retaining. It was a grueling match, very brutal, hard-hitting, really stiff stuff. They, traded maneuvers, but it was the paradigm shift that did him in, and Jon Moxley is still the United States champion. So I guess they're kind of going to use that as the bridge of New Japan and AEW, because I think this is still going to be a feud. I think they're going to keep going, or somebody else, maybe Minoru Suzuki shows up. But I think this is going to lead to more things. So that's kind of good. In some ways, I'm kind of happy that he keeps the United States Championship, because it, like I said, it keeps things still going with the group. So I liked that. I thought it was a really good match, and I thought it was worth. So go check that out on New Japan Pro Wrestling, New Japan World, New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong. And I thought that was good. Now, it's on sad news. Hiromu Takahashi had to vacate the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. That's sad. He's like the lifeblood of that division, but unfortunately, he's torn his pectoral muscle, and he's going to probably require surgery, and he's going to be out for a while. So that kind of puts the IWGP Junior Heavyweight division in kind of in flux. I don't know who's going to take up the slack. I think somebody's going to step up, because I think too many people have too much respect for Hiromu to just let that division just die. So those are the things that happened in New Japan. Now let's talk about a little bit of AEW. What happened this week, I did not see coming. I don't think anyone really saw this coming. The Big Show, Paul White, his real name, Paul White, has signed with AEW. Apparently they were far apart on money, and Tony Khan offered him a deal, and he's going to be the commentator, and he's going to do some matches here and there. I've got to believe he's going to show up with the Shaq thing. They've been wanting to do Paul White and Shaq for so many years. Now you can do it. I would do that and build that to a bigger show. I think Shaq's going to enjoy professional wrestling. He's a big fan. I'm really looking forward to the March 3rd episode of Dynamite to see what Shaq can do. Who knows? Maybe Big Show replaces Cody. But we got to stop calling him Big Show. He's no longer the Big Show. He's no longer the Giant. He's Paul White. He's going by his real name. So, like Kevin Nash, he's Paul White. I think he's a good get. I think they do need to be careful with how many of the ex-WWE guys they get. I'd like them to get Kurt Angle, but I think if they get Kurt Angle, that's too much like TNA. But who knows? Tony Khan is willing to talk to just about anybody. I think this is, you just want to be careful. You don't want this to turn into WCW, and you don't want it to turn into TNA. TNA's biggest mistakes was they hired all the old WWE guys, and they didn't use them to elevate anybody. Now, the thing that AEW is doing is they're using the Stings and probably Paul Whites to lift up other guys, like Jake Roberts, to bring up Lance Archer. Yeah, Lance Archer. I want to call him Vance Archer. No, Lance Archer, who's turned into a really good, character. I'm really enjoying what he's doing. So I think this is good. I think this shows that this validates them in some ways more or less, because one of the things they're doing is they are using these guys to elevate people, to get eyeballs on the product, because the future is, Omega and Hangman Page. They see that. Actually, they're the current. They're the current guys. The Jungle Boys. They're the future. MJF. These guys. They're coming up. And this is what WWE is not doing. They're not doing anything about that. So I'm excited. I think this is a good. It got everybody talking, and AEW needs people talking about them. So I think it's a good. I think it's a good move. Now the one guy they need to get, I don't know how they're going to get him, but I think they're going to get him, is CM Punk. If they could get CM Punk, I think we will see. I think that'll be the big turn. Or, like I said, the Bullet Club invasion, which I still think is going to happen. Or they could hire all these WWE guys and have a WWE invasion. So, those are the things that happen. Let's talk about some of my favorite things that happened on Dynamite. Phoenix and Archer went at it, and they had a great match. This was the main event of Dynamite. It was really good, and this was for a chance to advance to the ladder match at Revolution. And it ended with Phoenix taking... Archer did the blackout from the top rope on Phoenix, and that spelled the demise of Phoenix. But man, what a great match. What a great match that really put, I think people forget how good Phoenix is, and Archer has the potential to be really good. So I thought this was a great match. Go out of your way and watch this. If you can, watch the whole show. The whole show was pretty good. Dynamite, I agree with most people, has been the best wrestling show. It's been the best wrestling show. The Observer Awards came out, and Dynamite won Best Wrestling Show, and I agree, it is. It's the best show. Jon Moxley fought the guy, the Namath guy, the Hollywood hunk. It was a very short match, and then Jon Moxley cut a promo, and he cut a great promo. Really just, putting over the importance of how dangerous this exploding death match, barbed wire cage match is going to be. This is something you're never going to see in WWE. You're not going to see this in many companies. This is the way to do it. Some people are not going to like it, but I can't wait. I love those kind of matches, and I'm excited to see it. Nyla Rose advanced. She beat Dr. Britt Baker in the women's tournament. And the Young Bucks' father got attacked by the Inner Circle, and it looks like Papa Buck did a blade job. I thought that was a good little angle to put heat on them. I think what we're going to look at is Sammy Guevara interfering and costing Jericho and MJF the tag titles. I think that's the most logical way to do it. And I think it's a smart way to do it. So, I don't know. They might do it that way. They may have the Young Bucks just beat them clean. They might do the title change, but this was a good show. Now, the show next week, March 3rd, Dynamite. Shaquille O'Neal versus Cody Rhodes. Jade Cargill versus Red Velvet. This is, we got the Jungle, we got Jurassic Express versus FTR. All of them, all three of them. And a 6-man. This should be a really good show, and this is the go-home show for the pay-per-view. I'm excited. I like what AEW is doing, and I say watch this show. And when we come back, I'm going to talk about WWE. Let's talk about the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. I didn't get a chance to do it because I was kind of upset. But, all right, let's just get this over with. The Miz has become the WWE champion. I think that's lame. He's a goof character. He doesn't. What has he done to deserve the reign of defeating Drew McIntyre? I just think it's dumb. I'm not excited for it. But let's start off at the top of the show. It's not that long of a show, anyways. We had the Elimination Chamber, the SmackDown Elimination Chamber match, which Daniel Bryan ended up winning. This was a really good match, which ended up being then Roman Reigns came out and faced Daniel Bryan immediately. We had a hope spot right at the beginning with the Yes Lock, but then he was just killed, and they choked him out. And then Edge speared Roman, and he pointed to the sign, and they said, "That's the main event for WrestleMania," as fireworks exploded, which just makes everything so contrived. So they have the fireworks all ready for him to point to a stupid sign. It's just dumb. But yeah, so Edge and Roman will be the main event at WrestleMania so far. And yeah, that was that. Matt Riddle, Riddle won the United States title by pinning John Morrison. John Morrison won a four-way at the beginning of the show, or on the pre-show, because Keith Lee was hurt. And so Riddle becomes the United States champion, and Lashley doesn't actually lose. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler pinned Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair when Nia Jax did the Samoan, slam onto Sasha and pinned her. Who cares? Not that great of a match. And then let's move on to the Raw Elimination Chamber match, which ended up with Drew McIntyre winning. And then lo and behold, Lashley comes out, beats the crap out of him, and The Miz comes out and pins him. And in 2021, The Miz is the WWE champion once again, 10 years to the day. 10 years ago, I don't want to see him as champion. He's a goof. I didn't even like him when he was champion, and I thought he earned it. So, just lame. As you can tell, I don't like it. I don't want to see The Miz as champion. And so Raw starts off. Let's just go right into Raw. And Lashley comes out and he tells Miz he deserves a title shot. And he's got an hour to give him that. He comes out, and then Shane comes out, and then Braun Strowman comes out. And apparently, they have a match where if Braun wins, he gets to be entered into a match with The Miz, because The Miz needed more time. No Drew McIntyre on this show, which just makes no sense. Lashley beats Braun Strowman, and it looks like it's going to be Lashley versus The Miz. And I am hoping that Lashley just destroys The Miz in like 1 minute or 3 minutes, just obliterates him, pins him, and takes his title back. And let Lashley be the champion. But I think what's going to probably happen is Drew's going to interfere, and it's going to be a DQ, and that'll lead to a three-way at Fastlane, where somehow probably The Miz will, maybe he loses, he probably retains there. I have a feeling that The Miz is became champion because USA Network wants him as champion, because they've got the stupid reality TV show that no one cares about except for him. So there you go. The Miz is the champion, and hopefully Lashley will be taking the championship from him. Oh, I just absolutely hate it. Absolutely hate that The Miz is the WWE champion in 2021. Moving on to SmackDown. Bianca Belair chose Sasha. They had a little scuffle or whatever, and it was really lame and dumb. But Sasha and Bianca Belair will be facing each other at WrestleMania, and that should be good because I think Sasha and Bianca Belair will have a fantastic match. So I'm excited for that. The show started off with Roman Reigns coming out and telling Edge, you've got another chance if you want to, back out of this. And Daniel Bryan comes out, challenges Roman Reigns to a match at Fastlane, and kind of berates him and says, "Oh, what a champion for coming out there and facing the guy who's wrestled already like 40 minutes." Good point. So then we go backstage to Adam Pearce and the other girl, I forget her name, Sonya Deville, and they say that whoever wins Jey Uso versus Daniel Bryan will get Roman Reigns at Fastlane. And then Edge comes out and he says he's not really cool with that. And then a little bit later on the show, Edge came out, and Edge and Daniel Bryan had a little, backstage skirmish. And Daniel Bryan says, I think, Edge is hurt. I don't think he can really beat Roman Reigns. And they had a little thing. It was kind of cool. Then we had Cesaro and Seth. I'm not going through the whole show, but I'm going through the things that I liked. Cesaro and Seth. Seth had his, I'm a God person shirt, looking like Jesus. And then Cesaro beat him up and did a giant swing, slammed him, and then he did the uppercut, which was a cool setup. If he uses the swing into the uppercut as, the swing is the setup, like his spear into the uppercut, I think that would be a cool way to win matches. Cesaro had jeans on. He had no shirt. So that was kind of weird to see him. Usually, he's in his, gear. So I don't know. Maybe he's moving up in the world. Daniel Bryan and Jey Uso. Jey Uso worked on the knee. It's a pretty good match. And then it ended in a count out. So who cares? Nobody wins. And then Roman Reigns came out and speared him and beat him up. And the show ended with that. No Kevin Owens, no Edge coming out. So, really dumb. I don't like this. It's not a cliffhanger. It's just another way for us to say, ooh, we don't have to give the fans what they want. Not really my favorite stuff. But, this is WWE and this is what they do. And this is why AEW is so much better, because they don't do screwy finishes like that. I assume probably Kevin Owens will come out and they'll dilute it a little more. I'm hoping they don't, but you know what? Who knows what they'll do. So that was SmackDown, that was Raw, and that was Elimination Chamber. And it looks like we've got The Miz, and Roman's great, but I don't like the way they did this. And when we come back, I'm going to talk about one of my favorite Raw moments. So let's talk about one of my favorite Raw moments. As I said before, that was my favorite top Raw moment. I wouldn't say this is number 2, but this is up there. And the match I'm talking about it's March 13th, 2000, Raw. And the whole show is built around, if The Rock does not beat The Big Show, he is gone from the WWF, or the WWE as it's called now. If The Rock wins, he goes to Mania. So throughout the whole night, they were setting it up. Kane even came up to Rock and said, good luck. So they made it seem like this. They'd had real stakes. I mean, I don't think anyone really believed that The Rock was going, but back then you kind of still believed in stipulations. So we had this match. Then Shane comes out. He's the special ref. And this is Raw. This is on the road to WrestleMania 2000. And they're in the Continental Airlines Arena, New Jersey. The Izod Center is what it came to be known as. The Meadowlands. I've been there. I was there after, that's where Dolph Ziggler cashed in his Money in the Bank. And once, I've been there. It's a great arena. Really cool sound. So The Rock and Big Show have this thing. Rock has him beat. Shane pulls the ref out. He hits him over the head with the chair. And we see a limo coming out. And who has returned but Vince McMahon? And you got to understand, at this point in time, Stephanie and Triple H were running roughshod over Raw, over WWE, just making the rules, doing whatever they wanted. Then Shane comes back and he just does whatever he wants. And finally, it's Vince that comes back, and we all knew he was going to go. And they cut to Triple H and Stephanie like being shot, their uh-oh face, like they just got caught and having sex in the back of their, in the back of the car. And they're getting up, and Vince, potatoes Triple H, and goes on. You hear that music, and he comes out, and the pop he gets is huge. As everybody knows, he's there to set things right, and he's got this grimace on it. Goes in, punches his son, hits Shane over the head with the chair, takes the referee's shirt off of him, puts his, the rock bottoms, Big Show. He puts him on, counts it, 1, 2, 3. The Rock is going to WrestleMania. Vince has come back. All is right with the world. Great moment. You don't see moments like that. And it was so cool because Shane and Stephanie were so insufferable that Vince McMahon coming back, as a face was huge. And, The Rock is going to Mania, even though they ended up, kind of ruining the stipulation because the next SmackDown, Shane just says, well, I'm going to change the main event to a triple threat match, which was foolish and dumb. It should have just been Rock and Triple H. Don't bring in all these McMahons or whatever. It didn't need that. So, so that was probably one of my favorite moments because as a kid, I was so waiting for Vince to come back. I hated how Triple H just threw him out. I was a big Vince fan. And when he finally came back, I was so excited. So happy. I knew he was going to set things right, and he did. And it was just cool. It's such a great moment. And as a fan, everybody was waiting for when he was going to show up. And finally, he shows up, sets things right. It's so cool. The Rock, it was back in the day when, you still kind of believed in stipulations. And they just, wow. I just, I go back and watch that moment, and it still, gives me goosebumps thinking about it. I mean, I could just remember being downstairs watching it and seeing that limo door open in its vents and just having the biggest excitement of joy on my face and being just screaming so happy, like, yes, Vince is back. And, Rock wins, and, because at the time, people thought, nobody thought that was what they were going to do, but, at the time, it was going to be Triple H and Big Show, and it's like, as The Rock said, he said, if WrestleMania is going to be Big Show and Triple H, then WrestleMania is going to absolutely suck. And I think no truer words could have been reiterated than that statement. So that's one of my favorite moments. I loved it. Vince coming back, setting things right. The pop he gets when he comes out, the Meadowlands, the chair shot, counting the Big Show down. I mean, the suspense everybody had when Shane pulls the ref out, and you're just like, well, how's he going to, win now? He hits Rock over the head with the chair, which he had already done at No Way Out. So it was shades of that. Back then, things happen, they paid them off. And then you see that limo, and the door opens, and it's Vince, and you knew he's going to set things right. So great. Love this moment. One of my favorite moments. I still go back and watch it. I get goosebumps just thinking about it. If you have the WWE Network, or as soon what we're going to have, Peacock, watch Rock versus Big Show with Shane as the ref, March 13th, 2000. It's a great Raw. McMahon returns. Good stuff. Watch it. And with that, I think we're about done. I want to say thank you for listening. As always, you can reach me at Justin Yance. And I will see you next time on the DMF.